Hey, what's going on, traders? Thanks for checking out this video. My name is Travis from Master the Market, and in this one we're going to break down exactly how to make $100 per day from day trading stocks. Alright, so without wasting any time, first and foremost, it's going to come down to learning a strategy. Yes, of course, if you are just getting into day trading, you can kind of randomly buy stocks here and there, and occasionally you'll make $100 or $200, depending on how much you are investing. But at the end of the day, that's no different from going to a casino, gambling your money, and occasionally winning some. And that is, of course, not the strategy that we want to apply to our trading, because there's no consistency in that method of investing. And simply put, in order to consistently make $100 per day on average, you are going to have to apply some kind of strategy to your trading. Now, there are tons of different strategies that you can learn. For example, you can learn how to buy the breakout in the stock market. You can learn how to trade a gap and go, dip buy at support, momentum trade, buy stocks that are oversold for the bounce. You can buy candlestick reversals, VWAP breakouts, and so on and so forth. But in all honesty, no strategy is necessarily going to be much better than the other. What it's going to come down to is how well you actually execute that strategy. And once you find one that kind of fits your preferences and you start to practice it and master it, you're going to see just how easy it actually can be to make $100 or more per day from day trading stocks. All right, so let's go ahead and take the gap and go strategy, for example. The whole idea of this strategy is to find stocks that are gapping up in pre-market, which simply means that they're making a big move up from their previous day's close. And the idea is to buy into them after the market opens in hopes that they will continue their run to the upside after the market does open, hence the name, of course, gap and go. And this is a really great day trading strategy that is very commonly used. So for example, if we take a look at the chart here for BBI, this is, of course, a stock that was gapping up in pre-market. You can see that it is forming a little bit of trendline support here. It starts to kind of bounce around off of this trend line and ends up having a pretty solid run after the market opens, after holding that level of trendline support. So I wanted to point this out because if this is a strategy that you're using, for example, you don't want to just buy any stock that is gapping up because a lot of them do tend to come crashing back down after the market opens. So you still have to apply some technical analysis and some strategy to the strategy itself. And that's exactly what we're doing here with this level of trendline support in the gap and go strategy. So by buying into this trendline support after the gap up, what that's going to do is give us a very clear and defined level of risk in case this strategy happens to fail us and the stock ends up coming back down. Because at the end of the day, no strategy is going to work 100% of the time. And it's going to be very difficult for you to average $100 in profits per day if you're not managing your risk and if you're not keeping your losses small. Now, instead of the gap and go strategy, let's say, for example, that your preference is to trade momentum stocks. We have a really great example of what momentum looks like in the stock market here. This is a stock that is very clearly making both higher highs and higher lows. Overall, it is moving, of course, in an upward direction, and that is the goal with momentum trading, because there is a pretty common misconception with new traders that it's better to buy stocks after they sold off and after they fell to the downside. And that idea comes from the fact that the stock is much cheaper than it was maybe a few days ago or a few weeks ago, so it has to be a good discount, right? Unfortunately, that's not always the case, and many times stocks that are falling to the downside are going to continue to fall to the downside until something very significant changes in the stock or in the company itself. So the better way, in my opinion, to kind of buy into these stocks is to buy into the momentum that's already going to the upside, as opposed to trying to buy into the exact bottom of a stock that is falling to the downside. Now, the next step in order to make $100 per day from day trading stocks is going to be to find stocks that are meeting the strategy that you chose for your trading. Now, of course, depending on the strategy that you use, you are going to be looking for slightly different pieces of criteria for the stocks that you're trading. But I'm going to go over to Thinkorswim here just to kind of show you a scan that I like to use in order to find stocks that have momentum in case the momentum trading strategy is the one that you want to go for. So first and foremost, make sure that you're in the scan tab in the stock hacker in order to start finding stocks meeting your criteria. And then what we're going to do is simply look for stocks that are over the price of 50 cents per share. That is, of course, entirely preference. That's just the minimum I like to trade personally. The next step is going to be to look for stocks that have a minimum of 200,000 shares being traded for the day. Following that, I like to see that the number of shares outstanding is at least 100,000 shares and a maximum of 500 million shares. And that's just because over 500 million shares, that's going to be what is considered a very large float. And stocks with large floats tend to have less volatility, and they're not going to really have a ton of movement. So you can actually narrow this down much further if you'd like to, if you want to specifically look for stocks that have much more volatility. Now, the next piece of criteria, you're going to go to Add Filter up here, and you're going to click on Study. Once you do that, you're going to go down to Volume, select Unusual Volume, and we're looking for the volume to be at least 25% greater than it was over the past 50 periods, and that's going to be on the 5-minute time frame. Following that, we're going to do the same thing, click on Add Filter, go to Study, and then we're going to go down to Price Performance, select Near High Lows, and then we want to see that the price is within 5% of the 1-period high on the daily chart. So all that means is we're looking for stocks that are having a spike up in volume and that are within 5% of their high of day. Once we click on Scan, it's going to give us our results. And this is one of the several scanners that we stream to our members in the Market Master group every single day. So if you like the idea of this scanner and you want to see other scanners, I highly recommend checking out our group, which is going to be linked down below in the description. Okay, but once you've passed that point, you now have a strategy that you want to stick to. You have a plan to find stocks that are going to be best for that strategy. The next step is going to be to practice with a small amount of money. Now, the reason that I recommend doing this as opposed to paper trading is because, in my opinion, paper trading can be a very unrealistic way of getting into trading because at the end of the day, there is no money at all being at risk. Paper trading is 100% virtual and 100% practice. And because of that, it is a nice thing to not be risking any money at all. But a huge part of trading is the emotions that become involved once you do have real money on the line. So if you start with a very small amount of money, you're not going to be risking much in terms of the amount, but you are going to get an idea of what it feels like to have real money at risk, and that's going to better set you up for when you decide to dive into the market with a larger amount. And you can see there are a ton of different brokers that actually have a $0 account minimum. For example, Robinhood, E-Trade, Webull, TD Ameritrade, Interactive Brokers, all have a $0 account minimum, so don't think that you have to have thousands of dollars to get started with your day trading. You can put in as little as $100 or a couple $100s and get started practicing until you feel more comfortable to add more money into your account. Now, the next thing is a very, very important step when it comes to being able to average $100 per day from day trading stocks, and that is going to be to track your trades. And just to break down exactly what I mean by this, there's a ton of different criteria that you can actually track from all of the trades that you place. But in my opinion, the bare minimum that you should keep track of is the date, the symbol, the entry price, the exit price, and the percent profit and loss. And the reason for this is because what you can do is once you have this information, you can see what your average profit and loss is over the past 10 trades, 20 trades, 50 trades, 100 trades, depending on how long you've been practicing. And that's not only going to give you an idea of if you're ready or not to start trading with larger amounts of money, but it's also going to give you an idea of how much money you need in your account in order to average $100 in profits per day. So first I want to say that if this number, the average profit and loss for every trade over the past 10 trades or 20 trades, whatever it may be, is still a negative number, meaning that you're consistently losing money during any given trade, I do recommend that you keep a small amount in your account still. Don't add any risk onto the table until you see this number become positive. But once that number is positive, for example, in this case, we have a 4% average profit per trade. What you could do is then divide your $100 daily goal by your average profit of 4%, and that's going to give you $2,500. So that just means that with an average profit of 4% on any given trade, you can consistently average $100 per day in profits with an account balance of $2,500. So the next step is simply going to be to slowly scale up your positions until you've reached your goal and until you're consistently making $100 per day in your trading account. The key word here is, of course, slowly, because if you are starting off and you're just doing your practicing trades with just $100 in your account, you don't want to necessarily just jump all the way up to that $2,500 account balance, because again, going back to the idea of emotions playing a role in your trading, that big jump up in the amount of money that you're investing in every trade is going to cause you to be a little bit more nervous in every given trade. It's going to allow things like greed and panic to kind of set in. So maybe go from $100 per trade to $500 per trade, to then $1,000, then up to your total account of $2,500. And sure enough, eventually, once you scale up slowly, you'll be able to consistently profit $100 or more per day from day trading stocks. Okay, so hopefully you found this video helpful and learned a thing or two. If you did, please make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to learn more about day trading, swing trading, and even long-term investing, make sure to check out our premium education in our interactive trading group at Master the Market, which is going to be the first link down below in the description. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.